Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sumukascha Ekadantascha Kapilo Gajakarnakaha Lambodharascha Vikato Vignarajo Vinayakaha Dhumaketurganadhyakshaha Palachandro Gajananaha Vakratundaha Surpakarno Herambaha Skandapurvajaha Suklam Bharadharam Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopasantaye Yasya Viradavaktradhya Parishadhya Parasatam Vignam Nignanti Satatam Vishvaksenam Tamasraye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheswaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. With Bhagavan's grace, let us continue to partake Narada's teaching, which he gave to Ratnakar, gave to Prahlada, gave to Dhruva. Athato bhaktim vyakyasyamaha sa svasmin parama prema rupa amrutasva rupa cha yal labdhva puman siddho bhavati amruto bhavati tripto bhavati yat prapya na kinchit vanchati na sochati na dveshti na ramate na utsahi bhavati yat jnatva matto bhavati stabdho bhavati atma ramo bhavati sa na kamayamana nirodha rupatvat. Nirodhastu lokaveda vyapara nyasaha tasmin ananyata tad virodhishu udasinata cha anyasrayanam tyago ananyata loke vedeshu tad anukula acharanam tad virodhishu udasinata bhavatu nischaya dadhyat urdhvam sastra rakshanam anyata patitya asankhya. We came up to we covered the next one also. Sutra number 14. Lokopi tavat eva kintu bhojanati vyaparastu asarira dharanavadhi tat lakshanani vachyante nana mata bhedat. We came up to that point in last session. Tad tal lakshanani vachyante nana mata bhedat. Tat lakshanani vachyante nana mata bhedat. The various, if you want to call it in a limited way, the various the religious pathways, but actually it's more than that. Matam actually means opinion, considered opinion. And so there are different people's considered opinion of Mata Bhevata. There are differences there. Based upon that, the Tat Lakshanani, the distinctive features, the characteristic features of Bhakti, Nana, in different ways, Vachyante has been said, has been described, has been spoken about. In Vishnu Puranan, Prahladan says, Swami, all the people, he calls them as, there is a phrase called Viveki and Aviveki. Viveki means one who has got Vivekam, discriminating ability, very strong. Even though we carry the name Vivek, actually Viveki means one who's very strong in Vivekam, which is the discrimination ability, who uses the buddhi very well. His buddhi is very strong and very sharp. Aviveki is the one who does not do that, who is basically, as Adi Shankara calls in Bhajagovindam, Mudas, right? So Prahlada says these Avivekis, how much attraction they have to all the worldly matters and earthly pleasures and all that, that same type of attraction and the same type of dedication that they have for the worldly matters, Swami, let me have that same attraction to you, to continuously to think of you, to meditate on you, to continue to love you. Make sure that attraction to you does not leave my heart, is what he prays. In Vishnu Puranam it is given. Now Adi Shankara teaches us in Viveka Chudamani, there are so many pathways to get freedom from this bondage of birth and death, which is basically means freedom from action, right? As Bhagavad Gita Swami teaches, actions are the ones that binding us. We are not free. We cannot choose not to do an action. Impossible. Our natural impulses will compel us to do that action. So, how do you free yourself from this cycle of birth and death, and where the actions themselves leave you, you attain the actionless state? That is moksha, where there is no decline or decrease. It's always full, purnam. In other words, merging with selfless love, prema. There are many pathways given. As Adi Shankara says, among all the pathways, bhakti is the most supreme. The path of bhakti, the path of devotion and loving God is the best, most supreme. And what is bhakti? It is continuous, non-stop, forever thinking about one's own self. That is bhakti. He says that in Viveka Chudamani. Now, Kapila says, and in Bhagavatam, there is a thing called Kapila Gita. Okay? And he says, as soon as you hear my glories and stories, and as soon as you hear that, me who is residing in the heart and the hridayam of every being, as soon as you hear about me and my glories, how does the Ganga Nadi, the river Ganga, flows towards the ocean so unstoppably and so readily and so enthusiastically? Like that, my mind, without stop, without any discontinuity, and without any reason. There is no reason for the Ganga to go towards the ocean. That's the nature, right? We call it gravity, but it's actually in Sanskritam, as we covered earlier, that is ramyam, that is attraction. That is the attraction of one part of nature to another, and that's what makes that attraction, inherent attraction in everything is what makes the world go around. So, without any particular reason, without any other thought, when the mind goes towards you or goes towards me, as soon as you hear my stories and my glories, who is resident in the heart of every being, that is called Uttama Bhakti. So, Bhakti has been said in different ways by different people. And as Narada said in Second Sutram, everybody knows what Bhakti is. And you're trying to express it in your own way. How do you explain and give expression to your experience? Only you know that, right? And then Sutra number 16, the next one. Pujadishu Anuraga iti parasaryaha. Pujadishu Anuraga iti parasaryaha. Who is Parasarya? Parasarya is Parasara's son. And Parasara Maharishi's son is Vyasa. We call him Veda Vyasa. So what does he say? He says, Puja Adishu. That means all the activities that begin with puja. That is anuragam to that. That means deep attachment and deep involvement in that, sincere involvement in those. That is bhakti iti. This is bhakti. What Vedavyasa says that. And what are the various things that we do, beginning with puja? Puja is there, Parayanam is there, Japam is there, Homam is there. Plus we do bhajans, we do natanam, dance, like a prayer to Bhagavan and all that. And we sing songs, Geetam, Sangeetam, right? And then also we build temples, we build tanks, called kolam. Then we build beautiful gardens, flower gardens, and to pluck flowers to offer to Bhagavan. All these various activities that we do, they all are included in the phrase puja adishu. Now, when you are deeply involved in this, like, one very elderly lady that actually who brought me up, and she's now very old, in her 80s. What she do? Every day she goes to the temple nearby and plucks the tulasi leaf and makes a garland out of it. Every day. That's the kind of thing that Vyasa is talking of, right? Deep involvement in these kind of activities, that is bhakti. And Vyasa is also described to us 9 modes of bhakti. We all know the Navavida bhakti. They are not different, but that's the way he described it. Shravanam. What that means? To listen to the glories and stories of the Lord, of Bhagavan, of the sweetness of love. Kirtanam. The moment you start hearing them properly, really hearing them properly, then automatically you will start uttering Bhagavan's name. Whether you are a singer or not, you will start singing. Kirtanam. Then Vishnu Smaranam. When you hear Bhagavan's glories, starting with Shravanam, getting involved in it, automatically you think of Bhagavan who is present everywhere. Vishnu Smaranam. And then you start thinking about him. Keep on reflecting on him. Here Vishnu does not mean an Iyengar God. Please, it is all-pervasive entity. Right? That is what you start doing Smaranam about. Smaranam means to continuously to think about. Then, as you do that, next stage is Pada Sevanam. Then you want to worship the lotus feet. And where is the feet of Bhagavan? It is, as we know from Trivikrama Avataram, as we know from Purusha Suktam, the whole manifested world, what we call as the universe, is one aspect of what we call as Bhagavan's one foot. Okay? So whatever you see, that is Bhagavan's feet. So Pada Sevanam, you worship. Then Archanam. Right? We all know what Archanam is. Vandanam, Namaskaram. Okay? Dasyam, I am your servant. Whatever you command, I will do it. You want me to jump, I'll jump. That feeling comes, that closeness to Bhagavan, absolute trust and faith, they get more and more. So whatever Bhagavan, will you not command me to do something? Will you not engage me like the way you engaged Hanuman? So many things will come. Then you become Sakhyam, which is the state that Arjuna came to. That is, after being a servant, master relationship, you become a friend, a true friend. Suhrune Sarvabhutanam is what Bhagavan calls himself. I am the person, the friend of every being. Friend means what? One who really wants your welfare and well-being. Not a good time friend. No. One who really wants good for you, benefit for you. So Sakhyam, then Atma Nivedanam. These are the 9 steps that Vyasa has given us through Prahladan in Bhagavata. So all the 18 Puranas that he has composed, all these 9 parts of things are there. So Parasaryaha Pujadishu Anuragaha iti. Next one. Katha Adishu iti Gargaha. That's Sutram number 17. Katadishviti Gargaha. That means Katha Adishu iti Gargaha. Garga. Who was Garga? Garga was the priest, was the Pandit, was the Rishi who actually came and did the Namakaranam for Balarama and Krishna, if you recall. And Garga was the one who actually instructed Nanda to send Balarama and Krishna to Sandipani for their education. Okay? And that Garga says, Katha Adishu. That means, for the listening and hearing, not just listening, but hearing the sweet stories and glories of Bhagavan, and attaching to that, Anuraga iti, deep involvement in that, that is bhakti, is what that he says. And see, whatever we do, whatever worship we do, when we have that natural liking, an impulse, a drive, an internal drive that wants us to listen to the beautiful stories of Bhagavatam, for example, or Ramayana. Bhagavan's stories, natural impulse when it comes to us, that means that shows the onset of true bhakti. And when you get more and more involved in it, then your bhakti deepens and deepens and deepens. And remember what Sukamunivar asked Parikshit, you say that you really want to hear Krishna's stories, but tell me, how is it going to give you peace of mind and what the peace and happiness you're looking for? You're just hearing it through your ears. How does it go to the mind? And the mind is so sanchalam, unstable, and pramadi, you cannot control it. It is like that he's asking. Then recall what Parikshit told the Sukamunivar. He said, Swami, you know everything, but since you ask me, I'll tell you what little I know. It's like a bee that is going around, humming all around, going around the garden here and there and all that, right? But then it sits on top of the petal of a flower, and then it starts taking in the nectar from that flower. When it takes in that nectar, it doesn't hum anymore. It is fully involved in it. So much so, it does not even realize that the petals actually have closed around it. Mind is like that, Swami. When you hear Bhagavan's stories, it is a nectar. The mind that is going all over the place, all of a sudden gets attached to it and loses itself in it. And Sukha was very happy with that answer. So that is what Garga says. And when Bhagavatam continues, who listens to and hears carefully, not just listening, hears very carefully and with love the stories and glories of Bhagavan. And what does it Bhagavan do? He, residing in the hridayam of those listeners, he removes immediately, drives away all the 6 enemies that they have: kamam, krodham, moham, madam, matsaryam, lobham. All these they immediately pack up and leave without leaving their addresses. That's what Krishna does. That's what Bhagavatam says. Katha Adishu iti Gargaha. That is Garga's description, the experience of what bhakti is. Now Sandilya, another Rishi, great Rishi. What does it say? He says in Sutra number 18, Atma Rati Avirodhena iti Sandilyaha. Atma Rati Avirodhena iti Sandilyaha. Avirodhena. Virodhi, avirodhi. Okay? Virodhi we all know. Virodhi means enemy. Avirodhi means not enemitic to. In consonance with. That's what it means. Okay? Not enemitic means in consonance with. In alignment with. Right? Atmarati. The self, the sweetness of love that is driving us and seated in our heart. Right? And that Atma, that bliss, that peace, happiness, selfless love, Rati, it is exuding nothing but love. Avirodhena iti, when I'm on that and anything that, everything is in alignment with it. That means nothing is enemitic to it. That feeling, that approach and that experience, that means wherever I see Bhagavan only. Then how can there be an enemy? There will be no enemy, right? That experience is bhakti. This is what Sandilya says. Now Sandilya Maharishi, just like Narada, has also taught us a Bhakti Shastra. Okay, and that has got 100 sutras. It's also another Bhakti Shastra, Bhakti Sutra, that is Sandilya Bhakti Sutra. And not only that, he was a rishi in our current Manu in Manvantaram, where our lineage, some of our lineage actually goes back to Sandilya. It's part of what we call as a Gotra Pravarta, right? You may say Kausika Gotram, Sandilya Gotram, like that. So Sandilya Gotram. So some of us have taken lineage in have taken birth in his lineage. And in Santokya Upanishad, there is a part called Sandilya Vidyai, and that is an upasana. That means it's a discipline that has to be practiced. Sandilya Vidyai. And what does that Vidyai say? Very briefly, and that gives in Santokya Upanishad 3.14.1. Okay, that is of course in Sanskritam, but I will give you the meaning now in English. The entity that thing that has by itself become all the different types of tastes that we have in this world. Taste not only with the tongue, with the eye, with the nose, with the ear, with our skin. There are so many things we taste. And the one that is pervading everywhere, the whole universe, but that doesn't have any indriyangal, that doesn't have any senses. No, it does not have. What does air have, if you look as an example? It has no sense, right? It does not have ear or nose or eyes. Or prema is like that. Bliss is like that. Bliss has no eye or ear or one of the senses that we have. Not only that, the entity is such that, see, we all get happiness when we attain something that we don't have. This entity does not have that kind of happiness at all, because there is nothing there for it to be attained that it already does not have. That Brahman, Shandilya Muni says, is the Atma, my own self, that is my Hrudayam, Hridayam, the established as selfless love within me. What I will do, I will leave this body, which is temporary. I leave this body and I will attain only that Brahman. The person who is firmly established in this determination and in this resolution, that person has no doubt. His life has no doubts. This is what Sandilya Upanishad, Santokya Upanishad says. Sandilya Vidyai it is called. Number 19. What does Narada say? No, Narada said, this is what Vyasa says, this is what Garga says, this is what Sandilya says, and many different people say different things. Now what does he say? That comes in 19. Naradastu tat arpita akila acharata tat vismarane parama vyakulata iti. Thus, Naradaha tu tat arpita akila acharata tat vismarane parama vyakulata iti. Naradaha but Narada, what does Narada say? Tat arpita akila acharata. What does Swami say in Bhagavad Gita? Yat karoshi tat kurushva mat arpanam. Yat asnosi tat kurushva mat arpanam. Yat juhosi tat kurushva mat arpanam. Dadasi yat tat kurushva mat arpanam. Tapasyasi yat tapasyasi tat kurushva mat arpanam. See, Narada says, tat arpita akila acharata. Akila, all. Tat, that, are all of them arpita as offering to him. acharata, that activity, that conduct, doing things that way, offering everything, all the things to him, that iti, that is bhakti. Not only that, tat vismarane, if I forget him for a moment, vismarane, smaranam means to think of him and to keep thinking of him. As we saw earlier in one of our sessions, I believe that was when we were going through the lectures of Paramacharya on Vinayaka. See, when you add V before a word, like sesham, visesham means it becomes special, okay? Right? It also takes a very special quality, okay? Or it can also mean variety of. But it can also mean exactly opposite of what you're saying. Smaranam means to thinking him. Vismaranam, not thinking of him, forget him. So, tat vismarane, if you forget him even for a moment, for a second, parama vyakulata. Vyakula means worry, concern, anxiety. Parama means great. So, if you forget him even for a kshanam, even for the blink of an eye, then you become anxious and concerned and sad. That feeling, offering everything to him and also not forgetting him even for a kshanam. Right? If you do happen to forget him, then you become very sad. That feeling, that experience is bhakti. This is what Narada says. Naradastu tat arpita akilacharata tadvismarane parama vyakulata iti. Now, there's a beautiful story, in Krishna Karnamritam. There's a beautiful story that said, the gopis, they go lots of butter and milk and curd and all they have, so they have to sell all this, right? And so they go around carrying this milk and curd and all that to make sales, right? To sell in different houses. Because they were thinking of Krishna all the time. Not even one kshanam they forgot. Instead of shouting, saying this, the milk and curd and all that, they were actually shouting Krishna, Damodara, Govinda, Madhava. That is what they were saying. That is what Krishna Karnamritam says. That is what bhakti is. And when Uddhava came carrying the message as a messenger of Krishna to gopis, beautiful stories that should never forget it. Those are all excellent happenings. And they tell him, it's a Sanskritam word that's given in Bhagavatam, Vismartum na iva shaknum. Vismartum na iva shaknum. Vismartum, to forget. We just saw that, right? Vismarane, Vismartum, to forget. Na iva shaknum. Shaknum means to be able to. Iva means here. Na means not. So we are not able to. We don't have the ability to forget him. That's what they're telling him. And in another Sutra number 21, Narada now is going to, after giving all these different descriptions, he is now giving an example of what a bhakti is. Forget descriptions. Who cares? That is there. What is show me an illustration. Then he gives the example of these Braja gopis. He said, that's what bhakti is. That is what he ascertained. So these gopis, that bhakti is like that. Tat vismarane parama vyakulata iti, or vismartum naiva sapnum. I don't have the ability to forget him. I'm not able to forget him. That's what they were saying. Then with that we will conclude for today and continue with Swami's grace tomorrow. Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.